The UBC is produced by Backgammon Galaxy. Play among the stars. Hi there. This is the amazing team who made the UBC production that you're watching right now. You can support us by donating any amount using this QR code or the link in the description below. Donate $50 or more to get a personal shout-out later in the video by Marc Olsen. Donate $1,000 to get a shout-out and your own custom avatar on Galaxy. Thank you so much for your support. Another way to support Backgammon Galaxy is to place your sports bets on betgalaxy.net, the fastest way to build your Bitcoin bankroll while Bitcoin is skyrocketing. BetGalaxy.net is a Bitcoin-only bookmaker created by the Galaxy team and accepts players worldwide. Create an account now and place your sports bets.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. We're here with match 3 now of the final of the UBC with Hideaki Ueda and Mochy. And so far, Hideaki is taking a 3-1 lead. I believe slightly behind in the overall PR for tiebreaks later on. But won 2 matches and won the PR in one of those matches in, very close battles with those PR races and everything too. And I think, it looks like probably Hideaki is just going to win all the matches, right? Straight on from here.
Well, so far he's been quite lucky. He won the first 2 matches and he's up 3-1 in the total score. So they won a PR point each. I believe the average PRs, there was a slight correction from yesterday. I believe the average PRs are 2.51 for Mochy and 2.65 for Hideaki. So it's very close so far.
Yeah. Both of them, maybe as good a results as we'll see ever kind of results, right? It's amazing stuff. We got the right guys in this final.
We certainly did.
Yeah.
So now we're heading into day 3. Do you have any expectations for today, Nick?
More of the same. We've seen one really, in the ones basically, one in the 3s. So I still think we're going to see, the simple matches down in the 0s at some point. We'll see them average out around 2 as well, right? So I think we got a lot of range of things to see. Yeah.
Okay, good. Before we get going, I would like to thank all of you guys who made a donation yesterday to support the volunteers and the staff for the UBC. There's a lot of cost involved setting up a production like this. So thank you very much. And let's get going, Nick, to match number 3.
Yeah, thanks everybody, and sounds good to me.
So here we are, match number 3, about to get on its way. We see Mochy has got a cup of coffee with him now.
We've got the spectators back again temporarily too, probably just for game 1, I guess. I don't know. See how that works.
Temporarily. Yeah, see how that works. And we got some Mochy's opening up a bag of snacks. I wonder what kind of snacks probably healthy snacks.
Oh yeah.
And
3rd match of the day too. Yeah, they've been playing backgammon for about 2 hours now, right? So yeah.
Yes.
Starts to wear a little bit. You got to make sure you're keeping your energy up. So definitely something to think about.
It makes sense. I mean, I think what we saw from Mochy in match 2 was that he was just getting warmed up and he was really getting into the flow state, and didn't make it. Yeah. I don't think he made a single blunder in match 2. So, right. And Hideaki obviously playing super well as well.
Yeah, Hideaki with I think 0 blunders in match 1. So those are really sharp matches. Always, I guess that's the one thing I always root for in these matches, to see both players play their absolute best. It's cool to see that.
I agree. That's what I'm cheering for as well. Okay, so they're setting up the checkers now on the Neptune board, the 2020 Galaxy board. It was sold out. It was a limited edition, sold out in 20 days.
Oh wow!
No, in 10 days. Sorry. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
we have the new Earth board coming up. So the viewers probably saw some ads for the Earth board already, and it's really cool.
Is it just like a different color scheme, or is there some design different?
It's essentially the same design with the checker box, which is not mounted to the board, so you can. Okay. It's more travel friendly. It's different materials. It's natural wood, but I guess the viewers just need to see the photos. It's really beautiful.
Very cool.
Yeah. Okay, so we're off here, Nick, and they even made us the favor of showing that it's a 7-point match on the take point scoreboard.
Very nice.
Yes. We're off here. 2-1 for Hideaki.
Small structural advantage for Mochy, I guess, and then only 1 checker back for Hideaki.
Yes.
Yeah, this is tough. He obviously doesn't want to hit as much on the 5 here, given that he's outboarded. What's play B though? So I think he's probably going to do it.
That's the thing. He doesn't want to do it because he's up in the race and he's outboarded. But what's play B? You don't have any, so I guess you. You have this one. Okay, I didn't even. It's so ugly that my brain didn't even consider this one.
Here we only are on move 3, and he's already this is committed to this for the rest of the game, right? There's too much left to go. I just don't think you can do this to yourself. But as we've already discussed, he looks for these plays and knows they're available, right? Mm-hmm. So very willing to make a play like that where a lot of people might not even consider.
I actually exactly. I really like that process, to be honest. He's so thorough. 5-3, great shot from Mochy. Gets the double hit, tiger play. Mm-hmm. Very strong play.
Part of that too could be being a relatively new player, that maybe he needs that as part of his process. He really needs to rule some things like that out still,
But what about this one? Yeah, exactly. It's a double. Yeah. It's a clear double.
Yeah.
Oh, it's even a pass.
The take is the part that's in question. Yeah. Do you want to? Yeah, this is tough here.
My inclination was to take because it's still so early in the game. So I'm always trying to find if I'm gonna pass, I need a really big excuse for passing. So my inclination is to take, but at closer look here, all of the numbers play well for Mochy. The 6s get to hit on the outfield. Mm-hmm. The 5s and 3s cover. The 4s and 2s hit on the 4-point double hits.
Yeah.
It's he's got purity. This is a really strong position for Mochy, and I think Hideaki has a very difficult decision here.
The linchpin of it to me is that blot on the 3-point. Which looks like it could be a liability. Maybe Mochy doesn't have as much freedom to play this role, but it's not here, I don't think. I think it's almost always getting covered, and it functions more like a half a point, right?
Yes,
it's not a third
I agree.
point.
Totally
so
agree.
It's really,
if you look at the numbers, 4-1 and 2-1, for instance, that gets to pick and hit and cover. And if it's not going to hit and cover, it's just going to be covered. So I totally agree. This is an asset. Yeah. He's got a 2.5 point board. Not just
even discussing it though, I mean, it's hard to kind of go back to what I would do myself after seeing the evaluation, but kind of like your instincts, I don't know if I find a pass here.
Yeah,
this is tough it's so early. It's only 9 checkers in the zone. And you can, if Hideaki is lucky enough just to anchor on the 4, then this is a very long game, right?
Oh yes, exactly.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful
okay, he
pass.
finds a pass.
Yeah, really good pass. I think there were another little clue to the position that Mochy actually
here we go.
Oh yeah, they leave again. What's up with that? We gotta investigate.
They got robbed. That was not a sufficient first game. I don't think that's fair. But yeah, sorry, I interrupted you while you were talking about strategy.
There was the pip lead. Mochy was actually ahead with 14 pips. So
yes.
He was ahead in the race value department as well.
Leading all aspects, very true.
Yeah, exactly. Both the prime, the blitz, and the race. Mm-hmm. Okay, 6-5. That's a good shot from Mochy.
Mm-hmm. Off to a good start. Oh, great response.
Definitely.
It's going to be a long game now.
Definitely, yeah. Mochy shakes. Oh, that's a great shot. And there's the full freedom. This is what I like to call a defined state position, because one player has now successfully escaped all of his back checkers. Mm-hmm. So the defined positions are very easy to categorize, and they're not too complicated to play, because one player cannot do any offensive in these types of position. Yeah. So this is a holding game with a goalkeeper. To be more specific, a 20-point holding game with a goalkeeper.
Usually this was going to be the follow-up, though, where he has to leave a blot somewhere, right? And it's a little tricky to figure out how to bring this home. But if he gets away with this, then we're really close to the game being over,
Yeah, you're talking about he might be getting into a good cubing territory.
Right. Yeah, not over. Sorry, it'll be tickable for a while.
Yeah, it's not there yet, that's for sure. The goalkeeper adds so much contact to his game, so as long as Mochy is this underdeveloped, it's easy take, that's for sure.
This is very interesting, which blot to leave, and instinct is right off the midpoint, and that's what Mochy looked at first. But I think the argument here is that you want to put pressure on that goalkeeper too, right? And if you can kind of chase him out before opponent develops their board, I think that's an argument for going for this.
Yeah, I think it's pretty tricky. I mean, I would probably just play 2 down, unstack the midpoint, with the logic that I would place my blood in front of his anchor, so he has to break his anchor to hit. But I think you're raising a good point here that if you're forcing your opponent to hit with a goalkeeper, at least it's getting out of the way, it's breaking the contact zone.
And when he doesn't, then you make an inner board point, which makes it harder for him to keep the goalkeeper, right? Inner board points behind the anchor are important when there's a goalkeeper involved.
Yes, and rolls like 5-2 now all of a sudden makes the ace point and gets the goalkeeper out of the way.
Yeah. Tricky play.
It is, yeah. I would probably play it quite fast, to be honest. But Mochy realizes that this is a very close play, and he's taking his time.
Yeah, it shows the depth of his studying for sure.
So let's see what he eventually... I mean, I think he's supposed to make a move. He's burning time here. They've got 14 minutes. Okay, he does make this move. It's interesting. It's a very small error, but I think it's a move that very few humans would have made.
Yeah. On 4-ply too, right? So maybe that changes with the plus. I don't know.
It could. It could.
I would be more inclined to just make the bar here. Why not? 8-2 feels a little strange. I mean, it looks like XG likes that too.
I think the midpoint is still an asset.
Yeah.
It's too early to break it.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay, so 3-2.
Yeah, now we've got the racing lead and the even checkers on the midpoint. You can consider the cube here for sure.
Totally, exactly. It makes a big difference in holding games whether you have 5 or 4 checkers on the midpoint, because now you can clear the midpoint with a double.
Yeah.
And it is a double. According to 4-ply, this is a correct double, and obviously it's still a very easy take, and Mochy knows this. He's considering is it a double or not. Not so much of whether Hideaki is going to drop this position.
I think the thing that confuses it a little bit is that goalkeeper, of course. If this was just the same racing lead with the checker escaped, it would probably be a pretty simple, I've got enough race to send the checker. So he's got to think about long term how he's going to deal with that. But I think they tend to play about the same, right? It raises your gammons a little bit, but maybe the opponent gets a little bit extra contact value.
Yeah. I mean, you could say that in standard positions, maybe it evens out a little bit equity-wise, but it really depends on the position. How is the flexibility? In this case, it's obviously a big asset to have the goalkeeper, especially because Mochy has his bar point made. The bar point functions as a really strong landing spot for the checkers on the midpoint.
Yes.
So without the goalkeeper, it's going to be so much easier just to bring the checkers in the outfield home.
Very true. And this play, he's going to lose a lot of flexibility. This is an interesting way to keep it.
Yes.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
And that's right. Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
It is right. That's the
another play that I don't think I would even consider. I think I'd just make the point because I know it's valuable, again, to put pressure on that goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But still your opponent has the better board, and you lose all that flexibility. Next roll is going to be really tough. And
it does look a lot better to me making this play. Yeah, perfect flexibility here. All rolls play well next time. I think, are there a couple of awkward rolls maybe? 3-1. There are a couple of little bit awkward rolls, but for the most part, Mochy will have a good flexibility here. Yeah, okay, so he missed the cube last time. A small mistake. I think now he needs to find the cube. He's up 25 pips, and he has additional attacking potential here.
I'm surprised because looking at this position to me, if you didn't cube last roll, I don't see myself sending. I don't think I've improved.
Yeah, I mean, he improved a little bit in the front position, but so did Hideaki. So I think it's more or less the same position.
He took a checker and put it on the 3. I'm not even sure that's an improvement. I guess you've got more numbers to make the ace, but...
Oh, didn't Hideaki make a 4-point board? I think he went from a 3-point board to a 4-point board. So
Hideaki improved, and Mochy, I don't know if he did. So that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't send the cube.
Okay. I think Mochy improved a little bit as well because he got one more checker to the zone and he got a little bit better flexibility. But it evens out with the improvement that Hideaki made in his front position. But again, Mochy missed a small double here, not a big double. Holding games are quite low on volatility. This one is, I mean,
Well, look at the. I think if plus plus is hitting those, it's taking away the doubles and saying they weren't actually errors.
Okay.
You see that? There's only 0.07 now.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, these are close. Very close.
Super close. And Mochy again faces the same decision. His spare trigger distribution, his front position, got a little bit worse. But at least Hideaki had to let go of the midpoint, so there's less contact. Very similar positions now. Mochy is, this sequence of positions for Mochy.
I think we give up on the goalkeeper. No, what do we do?
That's interesting because the race just got a little bit closer, but he's still. But it's down. It's still down quite a lot.
I guess if I run to the 14, I think I'm passing. So I think you have to do something else. Yeah,
that's a good point. That's a great point, actually. Then you're passing because then you've got the holding game from the 20 point, which is not too good when your opponent has the bar point, and he's got a direct shot. This is definitely a cue because now you have a little bit of crunch on Hideaki's side. So I think Mochy's position just improved a little bit, even though the race. Actually, I'm not so sure. I think it's the same, actually.
Yeah. Well, now it's a clear by 4-play. But how fascinating is that like Mochy legitimately might understand this position better than 4-play does. That's just a nightmare.
That's scary. But I actually see the logic now. The equity of this position is not really changed so much from the last ones, but the volatility now is slightly bigger. The Hideaki just crunched a little bit, and he's one step closer to the full crunch. And there's a little bit more attacking potential now. 13 checkers in the zone.
And I presume this is just to the 7. I was thinking about this, but there is an argument for attacking, I guess. He could also not leave the... Yeah, now's the time for the fly shot. This is just...
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. He's got a blotting board.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You're right. Next time will be a 5-point board. That's a great play again by Mochy. It was definitely a real backgammon decision whether to leave the fly shot or not.
Yeah.
Good decision by Mochy.
You will have to deal with that checker on the ace eventually. Great rail to do it. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, if you're hit on the ace, all you leave is double fours. But I think that's a lovely trade-off, isn't it?
Yeah, what is this?
Or is just
Oh, wow.
This? Oh, he's right again.
He doesn't have a spare on the 6 after it. I saw that, but it seems like such a great improvement to fix the ace point thing. I guess he also allows his opponent to roll a 6 and lose his anchor.
That's the thing, exactly. The timing favors the non-hitting play because Hideaki is running out of timing, so he has to run from his anchor unwillingly. Oh, let's see. Okay, so this one leaves double fours, so that's one shot where the other one leaves 0 shots, and that's actually quite important because, I mean, a shot would lose the game. Here, Hideaki could also roll a 4, which might be a little bit annoying in the future because then he still has 1 extra pip of contact from the anchor, or not just from the 20-point anchor, but also from the 21-point. All in all, tough decision. I mean, I think I would probably lean towards the blitzing play, thinking that I might win more gammons, but that's, as you can see here by the engine, that's wrong. You actually win more gammons by not hitting.
Must be when an opponent rolls a bad 6 here that you just get a chance to attack on the 5. Yeah,
that's the key. Good play again by Mochy. Actually, incredible strong plays.
Sometimes they roll double 6s though, and then I think you're sad.
This is probably still a double pass, to be honest. So it's not too bad. It's not too, maybe double take, but okay, 6-1. Mochy's ahead by 3 pips. Still in a good shape because he's got that one-man back locked in. Okay.
Oh. And now he gets to do clever things and maybe win a gammon.
Wow, what a beautiful... He gets to hit loose on the edge of his 6' and just try to roll his 6' in, achieve the full closeout, and there's the closeout. Masterful play by Super-Grandmaster. Super-masterful play by Super-Grandmaster Mochy. Okay, so he plays it safe, which is correct, and Hideaki just presses the clock.
Look at this. Did you see the PRs there for a second?
No.
I think we've got a 0.5 and a 0 right now. Under a 0.5. Yeah, how about that? And we're going to get that match now. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So Hideaki hasn't made a single inaccuracy in game 1 or game 2.
certainly speaks to the difficulty or simplicity of the game, but it's also like very few players that are actually capable of making it through a full game with no inaccuracies like that.
Yeah, and
Or
he
two.
just did
Yeah.
2 in a row.
Yeah.
It is actually pretty cool. Because what's the probability of Hideaki playing a perfect game? It's probably like 0.2 or 20% or something like this.
I don't think we saw a perfect game in the Contender Series from a...
Didn't we? Not a single one?
I don't think so.
Oh wow, maybe it's...
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't we have that statistic? I feel like we'd know if that happened.
Yeah.
The new 2021 Galaxy Earthboard is a tournament luxury board optimized for travel. Pre-order now. Details in the description below.
G'day from Melbourne, Australia.
That's a fun thing to think about, but
It's not that crazy to play a flawless game. It happens.
it's not that crazy.
No.
But it would be really cool to see for sure.
Yes. I mean, are you talking about a match or a game? I'm just talking about single games.
Oh, a match. I'm talking about a match.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
sure
okay.
we saw a
No.
perfect single game.
Okay. So that's I was trying to not be too rude, but
Yeah.
Nick, it's not that rare.
All you have to do is be a grandmaster, and then you can just do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good start here. Mochy's got his 5-point again. It's nice to always be getting those early 3-1s. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the 4-2 you generally use, especially when you have to give up a point otherwise. Let's see. Do you want the... I kind of like the 23 a lot of times when the opponents made the 3-point
Definitely. Yeah.
and stripped 8 here. I'm
But-
sure he wants to consider the ace and the 11.
Yes, that's the
Or could
thing.
he-
He has a strong alternative here to make the 11 point.
And the distribution of 6 to 5 isn't bad either, But
Oh yeah, but the other two plays dominate. Yeah, that's a great play from Mochy, as we can see.
Yeah. Yeah.
When the opponent has a stripped 8 point here, the 23 point is quite strong.
I found that 3-point specifically is a huge thing too, and it's like more of a blitzing point, right? And
True.
so you're not as worried about being primed. So go ahead and just make the anchor and advance it a little bit.
Okay, so 5-3 for Mochy here. I don't think he should make the 3-point here. It's too many shots.
It's a worse point than the 8 too, so it's unclear. But his alternative isn't great. He has to
Yeah.
strip the midpoint.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was wrong. Mochy was right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When I look at it now, 2 down. Actually, they also left a whole bunch of fly shots. So my argument was quite weak.
Yeah, and you have a stripped midpoint,
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's fine making the 3-point. Double fives is not really a good shot. I mean, it's good for racing, but
Yeah.
it's not good when you have. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, he
Mochy
takes it
feels
back.
great about having his 23-point anchor now too. He's going to keep that till the bitter end.
Oh yes, and Mochy is actually not that far from a cube here because he could be steering into a priming battle where it's
wow.
a great advantage to be ahead by 24 pips. It's still too early. We're
Yeah.
not there yet, but let's say he makes it a bar point, for instance.
I don't see the loss, and the thing we got to
Oh.
consider is a score too, 4 away,
Yeah,
7
that's
away.
right.
But part that goes both
Ooh.
ways in that it's if he has a gammonish position, he still sends a little bit aggressive at this
Oh,
score,
yes. He
even
can
though
actually-
he's leading.
In a gammonish position, he can actually be more aggressive at the 4 away, 7 away than in money game.
Yeah. But both of them holding their anchors in a prime versus prime, I don't think it's that kind of scenario. So I think he's probably got to be a little bit careful. here.
Yes, totally. Even though priming battles, they are quite
Ooh.
gammonish.
What a shot. And now Hideaki has a real prime, right? Somehow he's developed that. That's
Yes.
great.
And
I
we're
think-
going to see a cube. Oh, maybe not. It enters with both. That's a great shot.
Clearly leading though. This looks like a cube for sure. And then I'm thinking about whether I want to take this or not. With 4 back,
Oh, yeah. I think, but
yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking that it's an easy take, but maybe it's just me. I'm thinking take here. I like the cube. I definitely like the cube.
Yeah.
He's way ahead in the race, even though that can be a disadvantage if you get into a
Sure.
priming battle.
He does. I mean, Hideaki has a lot of inefficiencies, but I'm looking
Yes.
at like a loose 4 hit is just like that could be the end of the game in just a certain gammon,
Yes.
So this is a very scary position, I think.
It is actually. It is a scary position. As we can see here, the engine says that it's quite close. 4-ply prefers
Yeah.
to take, but I mean, it might even switch on deeper settings. This is very
Yeah.
close and very difficult decision for Mochy.
And there's a score aspect to this clearly as well, because looking at those numbers, this would be a clear take for money.
Definitely.
Based on the gammons and the wins, but
Yes.
he doesn't have much recube potential.
Okay, he gives
and
it
he
up.
adjusts. Yeah.
Okay,
I
interesting.
think that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, Mochy's biggest weakness was the 3 checkers on the 23 point. They were really getting primed.
This is the Take Point Backgammon scoreboard, a scoreboard for winners. Order yours now on takepoint.pro.
Yeah, he had a little bit more flexibility with the back checkers. He would have had an easier time taking it. I don't mind Mochy passing here. I think I would have probably taken it, but maybe I'm more to the loose side.
Yeah. But you can see very easily how that turns into a 4-3 match that you're otherwise winning, when you just pass. So,
True.
yeah. And
Okay.
still a clean game from Hideaki.
Oh wow, 3 in a row now. That's actually impressive.
Yeah.
That is something. If we give him 20%, which is maybe even too high for a perfect game,
Yeah.
doing that 3 times in a row, what's that? That's like, that's way below 1%.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
he's
pretty
rolling
rare.
the right rolls to keep
Yeah.
playing. Dude, this is simple.
And Mochy's got the rack, but to not much use because of
Yeah.
Hideaki achieved full freedom. Even though that he's inflexible and Mochy might get some fly shots now.
Right. It's not that this is a great position, but this
No.
should be pretty. There's not a lot of decisions for Hideaki yet. It's just, what are you going to do other than this, right? I guess you could play to 6. He'll think about it.
Oh, no. He has to do
Yeah.
this, of course.
I think so. Yeah.
He's got a super stack.
Yeah. That split to the 22 makes it.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, we've seen him consider this over and over again, and so of course he's going to
you're
look
right.
at it.
You're
But
right.
the split to the 23 disincents the checker on the 11, I think, a little more, but the 22 is a little safer. I think there's less shots out there somehow. Like 3, 6, and 4, 5 versus 6, 2, and 4, 4. And there are rolls that are good otherwise too. So I've seen this. It's a little safer to do this against that particular split.
That's true. Yeah. And you got a little bit. You got the duplication going on as well for 6-4, which is a
Yes.
great shot for making the anchor and the bar point, but it's also what you need to hit the fly shot.
Yes.
Um,
too.
I don't think. For me, this is not a difficult decision. For me, this is a very clear play that you need to unstack. It's simply too inflexible to have that
agree.
super stack on the midpoint. I remember I made a similar mistake like this in the Nordic Open final in 2014, where I was simply not aware of how bad it is to have the midpoints, a super stack on the midpoint, and I
Yeah.
missed it several times in a row. So I haven't really done that blunders ever since. That was burned into my subconscious. Maybe
Right,
that's what's
yeah.
coming ahead here.
Yeah. I completely agree. It's not the most intuitive thing to learn in this game, I don't think. This concept of like purity and stacks and risking shots against the best 3-point board, right? Of course, if he gets hit, it's devastating. But yeah, I think he'll find the best play is what I expect. But he's just, like I said, he's very willing to consider that.
Yes, that's
which
true.
is kind of unique among top level players.
Yeah,
Right?
and again we see him find the best play.
Yeah.
He's playing at an absolute 0.
So we know 3 of them for sure, and then I don't think you come out and risk the race here. You can just sit back, right?
I agree. Oh, this is tricky.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
If he comes out, how close is the race? That's actually the question.
I think he's up 13 after the play. Yeah.
Okay. That means that I think it's right to stay back because even after this play, he has such a large race lead that it's okay.
On
It's
that
okay.
roll, he probably would have preferred to have come out, but that's okay.
Yeah, there would have been a distraction split. Now he needs to step up with the deuce. This is the right idea. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then just play it in. Yes,
very
and
simple
now
play
he
for-
has his back checker ready to be launched into freedom. And Hideaki is probably not going to hit loose because of the strong inner board from Mochy, but he needs to do something to prevent the escape. So
Yeah, it's
maybe
not-
hitting loose is it is the best play. Oh yes, okay.
Yeah,
Very
his
good.
board isn't that much stronger yet, right? Next roll, it rates to improve or he rates to escape.
That's a good point.
Oh, and he's just gonna... Okay.
Oh, he broke his perfect streak. That
Let's
was
see
a
what
lot.
Plus Plus has to say before we give up on it.
Yeah.
And actually, I didn't even notice that, how absurdly low the mistakes on Mochy's side are, too.
Yes.
Like, it's
It's
still...
impressive.
like 3 or 4 of those that Hideaki did, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
That's just wild.
Okay, 3-1. That's a good shot
Develops.
because he gets
Yeah.
to make the outfield point, and this is a very useful point. It blocks the 7s from moving to the 15 point, and it's active builders and attackers for the 7 and the 4 point. Mochy is just counting the raise here. He does have some market losers, like 6-5, double 6, and double 4 would be market losers, but it's not enough.
Sure.
It's definitely not enough to double. But he's actually a favorite here, even though Hideaki is the one with full freedom. Mochy is the favorite because of the race
Full
lead.
freedom's too big, but yeah, it's just the market loss, even if he does escape, isn't that large. With like a 6-5 or something like that,
Yeah.
you might lose the racing market, and you might not, right? So, yeah, you gotta wait on this one. Yeah, this looks like a good distribution play, improving to attack, and this we see back to that 4-3 play, right? Like Hideaki is just pretty much completely lost his opportunity to attack.
Yes,
right?
exactly. That was his moment. I mean,
Yeah.
the game plan was clear. It was to attack, but the reason I hesitated was because of the strong inner board of Mochy's front position. So it was a difficult decision, and it was just such a small error, but it turned out to be the decisive moment in this game.
Yeah.
And now is Mochy going to be ahead with 10 pips after the move? In which case he has a clear double. He's just
And
counting
I don't
the
know
race
about
now.
score considerations at 4-way, 6-way, but it should be a take. For
There's not much to consider compared to money game strategy in a race.
It's like right on the edge, though. So yeah, this is one where it's actually pretty close to a pass, where I don't think it is for money. Yeah,
It's
they're just very counterintuitive. You have to know the match equities and exactly what you're risking and gaining.
you wouldn't. You don't need to use that here, Nick. I think you should just. You don't need to adjust in a gammoner's position at this score at an initial cube. It's just basically the same take points. So the standard race formula, or the rule 62, or whatever you want to use, that would give you the right answer. That Hideaki could take if he was 11 pips down and he was just 10 pips down, and that's basically it. But like 1 pip more, it would have been a drop. Yeah, it's really incredible to see these two players express themselves at a backgammon board.
Yeah.
Because Jesus, they play well.
Yeah.
Okay, double 2. It's looking good for Mochy. Up 18 pips. Yeah, 1 checker out.
It's a little bit not the most efficient structure I've ever seen on Mochy's side, but yeah, he's doing fine.
He's doing fine. Oh yeah, that's friendly for the viewers. Mochy just corrected the spare checkers on Hideaki's 6 point, so we can see that there are actually 7 checkers there, not just 5. I always do that as well, even just for myself. Just like just slide the checkers a little bit so you can see the curvature of each checker. Okay, so this is just a race. What do you think about the settings, Nick? Oh, sorry. What do you think about the settings of this Tokyo Japanese style traditional room?
Hey, whatever is comfortable. This would be the worst for me. I couldn't do it. There's no way. They would have huge edge that they didn't already have.
Yeah, I'm still not sure if the chairs they have, are they sitting or are they kind of like sitting on their knees, or what's going on? I'm not sure.
They look like low kneeling kind of chairs, so I think their like feet and legs are underneath them as well, like almost a kneeling position. That's what it looks like to me.
Yes.
So that might actually be better than a regular chair for me, but yeah. Oh, a 4-1. This is interesting. One of these kind of, of course, the easy thing to do is rip, but that's really bad distribution. So you got to think about, not wasting your whole roll on that, and maybe just getting some better checker positions. But there isn't a very good distribution play, right? Oh, he goes for it though.
He does go for it, which is funny. It's as to the viewers out there watching, every time you can rip off a checker, you're not gonna make many mistakes by just doing so. It's rarely right to do something. It does happen, that sometimes it's better to make a distribution play. And that's what Hideaki went for. Maybe it was a fancy play just for the viewers.
Oh, look at this. It's like pick 'em on these two plays. I would never consider 3-1 there, though.
It's
like
exactly the same winning
Yeah.
percentage. So it's the same.
That's
doesn't
so
matter.
wild.
It's the same roll that wins.
All right.
Oh, he placed the 3 first. Did you see
Fives
that?
are better. I did.
Again, the fancy. The efficient play. Less energy spent moving your fingers around the board.
Oh. Well, I think the Hideaki shutout is looking less likely. You know, not by much. It was already very unlikely, but certainly looking less likely.
Improve your backgammon skills by reading the best books on the market. Available on Amazon. Links in the description below.
2-away, 6-away. At least this is a fun score for sending cubes on Hideaki's part.
Yeah, he can be aggressive. He
Very.
should be aggressive, especially in the gammon-ish positions.
Yep. Mochy's going to have a really hard time sending a cube unless they get to a really defined, not volatile position toward the end.
Exactly. He wants high winning chances and low
Yep.
gammon rates.
Yep. Now it isn't one where Hideaki's like base take point is super low necessarily. So if you get into a race, he probably passes at about close to the same point as money.
Yes, correct. There's not much adjustment going on in gammonless positions.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Oh, that was a mistake from Mochy. It was
He
actually
should've
better. Yeah, he should have come up with a 4 and played 24 to 23. That was a tricky play to find. I
Yeah.
think I would have fallen in the same trap as Mochy there.
Interesting. Yeah, it looks kind of natural to do something with the back checkers to me, but I guess no, there's blots everywhere, and you feel like you're about to be attacked. So
Yeah, that
no,
was
I'm
the
with
thing.
you.
That was the
Yeah.
thing. Mochy was scared of the blitz, but
Yeah.
actually he shouldn't have, surprisingly enough.
Yeah,
And
that's
I-
bizarre.
And the alternative was also quite bad because the alternative coming in on the 24 point, now you're getting primed all of a sudden. Instead of
Yeah.
getting blitzed, you're just getting primed. So
That is the part that isn't as visible, right? Like how
Mm-hmm.
often he's going to make the bar point. Starts over.
yeah.
What are we gonna? Yeah,
so
it's
there, and then you make the 9, and now you look at the last deuce.
yeah.
Yeah, the 9
is-
is better than the 11 point because it's part of your prime.
I'm inclined to leave a blot, but
According to XG, it's slightly better to just play safe here. You are
Interesting.
outboarded. You are outboarded, and you don't want to lose anything in the race. This is the right play, Mochy. Let's see if we can find it. Oh no, no!
it's so hard to pass up the flexibility, you know, and leave a bunch of
Yes.
points. It just doesn't look right. But
Yeah, but it's just a little bit too much now. 6-4, 6-3, all of a sudden are good hitting numbers. Hideaki is thinking here.
yeah, he wants to wonder if he's going to lose his market on that. Wow. And this is
Yes.
a cube. Wow, I don't think I was about to look at this at all. I like Mochi's structure so much that I figure this just must be an even game. But I guess Hideaki's is better. I can see it. Yeah.
He is better, and there is a little bit of volatility here. He can lose his market with 6-5, 6-4, and 6-3.
Yeah.
And at this score, that's 6 market losers out of 36. You know, that's quite good. And
How about 5-4?
5.
That's
Oh yeah,
it.
5-4. So it's 8 numbers, and even 4-3. 4-3 makes the golden point. That's
Yeah.
could actually lose his market as well. Okay, so we're up to 10.
6-5.
10 good
6-5
numbers.
could be it too.
6-5 already counted.
Okay.
So we got 6-5, 6-4, 6-3, 5-4, and 4-3, which makes the
Yeah.
golden point.
Fives
Ooh.
is interesting too. Very strong. Very strong.
5s are strong as well, yes, super strong actually. So that's 11 good shots. What about
Yeah.
double 3? He can make the beautiful 4 prime.
Oh well, he gives up the
he
blocking
gives up-
point on the bar to do
Yeah.
it.
Okay,
But
great,
still.
great decision from Hideaki.
Nice
Really
find. Nice find. Yeah.
Definitely, good play.
Those aren't always easy to see.
Yeah. And Mochy, of course, does the right thing. He knows it's a take, so why spend any time on it?
Sure.
2-1 is not a bad roll.
I don't know if you make the anchor here though, because you just
Yeah.
voluntarily prime yourself. So,
No. You make the anchor on the 22 point.
Wow, but it's the 6 is blocked is what I'm seeing, so it feels strange. But you do have an
Ah.
advantage in a priming game. I can see
Yes.
he's got the better timing, so he can do this. Okay.
I think the contact with the 9 point is actually maybe it's in his favor because look at Mochy, he doesn't have too much mobility, so that's contact that he's
Oh yeah, and this is a
Oh.
devastating roll now because of that decision. Yeah.
yes. the 22 point anger is good.
That's very
You need-
good. Yeah, the 13 to 10 was super close if you saw it on the evaluation.
Okay.
And I think that's probably the play I would have made. But yeah, I can see why you just accept the priming game here. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's true. The 13 to 10 was actually borderline.
Yeah.
That's true.
Interesting. Yeah, the spare on the 5 looks better. Weird potential inaccuracy. Who knows?
Who know? Yeah, we can't really. I mean, the level, the margins we're talking about here.
How do you like that? He just automatically does that terrifying play that might lose a gammon. But I mean, I think you have to. But I would have thought about it.
Yeah.
The things that Mochy thinks about, and then the things that he just plays automatically, it just doesn't make sense. Wow.
I mean, splitting up, of course, was mandatory. The question was how to play the 4. I think I would have just found the same play. Probably also quite fast. Yeah, I guess the alternative was to play 8 to 4. Okay, 5-3.
Yeah.
Mochy's got a little bit of a counter prime going on here. Now he doesn't want a fan. Oh, and he does. 5-4. That is a good shot. That's the 4 and that's the 5. Yeah, good play, Hideaki.
Great
the
shot.
8 point is a great asset in this position. It increases prime and blitz value. Oh,
Not a good shot.
It's probably above average, to be honest. 5-2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, at least he's coming in, and covering the ace point is probably also reasonable, even though his flexibility is looking dubious.
Yeah. Next 5 is not pleasant.
5.
Oh,
Oh,
so he opens up a 5. Yeah, I don't know about this.
Do this. Now you're opening up for all of the blitz potential of Mochy.
Yeah.
Let's see. You should just let him crunch.
I think he'll see that right away too.
Yeah.
He's got to look at it, and that's the feature,
Yes.
right? You can't
Yes.
give him a playable 5 and let him potentially do something with this really crunched position. Yeah.
The 5s and 6 are being blocked so well by the 22-point anchor. This would be my play. That's the natural play. But actually, the engine says that it's slightly better to... Oh, this is the wrong idea, Hideaki.
Yeah, this is a big problem, I think. Well, so actually, if we look at the evaluation, though, it's not so bad. It's still not a blunder. And I really think that's like an impressive sign of a high-level player where, like, we're both terrified of this play, but they can see that it's close or something to consider. That's really impressive to me.
And what's interesting from the engine's perspective is that the actual biggest difference is that you win less gammons when you come out. You win more gammons by maximizing contact here, staying back on the 22-point anchor, letting him crunch a little bit.
That makes sense to me, because I think he's one roll away from freeing up a bunch of checkers and getting gammoned. I can see that.
Okay, so he does make a mistake here. The first mistake from Hideaki in this match, and we had to go all the way to game 5 to find it.
Only potentially a mistake, though. I mean, that's the thing. These priming plays, I think that sometimes 4-ply struggles with versus plus. I could see it changing.
I would think it's very unlikely. It was pretty big. And 4-ply is pretty good. 4-ply is definitely a lot better than 3-ply. Okay, Mochy comes to his senses here and doesn't make a desperate hit.
This could be it.
5-1. That's a nice roll. Exactly. The tiger play.
Yeah.
That's, what a demanding play. And Mochy needs to produce. He does. He does. Wow, look at the PRs, Nick.
Now we pick up the blot on the 23.
Oh, yeah, another double hit. Another double hit.
And with 4 checkers back, wow, the 7 to 4. I was about to say, I don't think we can switch to this blitz play.
Oh, yes.
Take the checker off there.
It's a tiger play. It's the double hit. And it's even on the point you want to make.
Yeah, we just don't have much ammunition is my concern, but it makes sense. For every game plan, you need that point.
Yeah, exactly. And you, no, this is a big mistake, Hideaki. You need to attack here. You
can't let him have it.
The downside is not too much worse because otherwise you would just make an anchor if he rolls a 4. Yeah. And the gain is huge.
The confusing thing to me was that it looks like a blitzing play, but it's not. This play is the play for all game plans.
Exactly, it's blitzing and priming. Yes, you're exactly. Okay, so now, look at this. Hideaki is in such a great shape now because of that double hit.
Yeah, what's our best we can make?
This is the 5 prime. It doesn't do anything with our back checkers, but our back checkers are quite flexible already. We can play all numbers with the back checkers. So I think this was a good play.
I like it. It's a long game. I think you really want another checker in the air, I guess, but I'm not sure you get get to do that here. Ugh, these are getting tough. Okay.
Yes, again a blitz or prime decision, and the engine says that we should just take it slow. Actually, this move was, according to XG, a small error, but
yeah, you need to bring another checker closer to the zone, which is the 18-14 part, and then the ace was fine, right?
yeah.
That makes sense to me. But now 5-1 we can hit 2, so I think
Oh,
we're
yes.
back on that plan. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. You're exchanging a little bit of prime value to gain a whole lot of blitz value.
Mm-hmm.
So here's just gonna gammon him half the time. 50% gammon rates. Mochi needs to produce. That's
The 2's
not-
really good here, I think.
It's better than
it's
fanning.
It's hard to cover and it. Oh, never mind. Very easy to do.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mochi needs to produce a double deuces now. The gammon rates are off the charts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. Yeah, the
No,
2
it's
you got to
playable.
step up with.
Yeah, totally. Why not step? I mean, he's not
Almost
like,
didn't see that he could, but yeah.
yeah. There's no need to give yourself a bad double 5 or double 6 in the future. That's the first deuce.
Yeah. Huge swing if Mochi can create that anchor. Yeah, I think so. I think you got to try even though you don't have the cover.
Oh yes, just
Yeah.
to fight for him not to make the anchor.
Now I guess he's thinking about freedom, but this seems more important to get a checker closer to covering. Yeah. Oh, upside down.
No. Upside down, yeah.
This is an interesting one where
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
just like that. Bring the direct builder into the zone.
yeah, I always think about the ace though, whether this is a spot where we want to think about switching and making the point higher.
Oh, yeah. No, I think here it's better to not do it, because if he's lucky enough to roll a double from the bar, it's still better to have him behind a 4 prime rather than, so you retain a little bit of prime value.
Very true. And you don't really gain in covers, which can be the case
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yes,
but not
exactly.
here. Yeah.
That's when you want to do it. That's when there's a big gain in the tactical department.
Okay. Well, okay, so all Hideaki has to do now is win a backgammon to keep his perfect win streak going.
Oh yes, and he's got 6.3%.
Yeah,
So
It's real.
It is real.
yeah. And that's, I mean, for him, this is what a nice start to the match. You love to be getting those kind of lucky wins in there and giving you a little bit of cushion, right? There is that big luck element, just who's going to get the games to win, even if they play exactly even, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it must feel
Exactly.
great to be in that spot, to be getting kind of supported with the dice too. You know?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is a big factor, especially when they're both playing so well.
Yeah. So he's in a great position. Yeah, I'd be very happy as him.
Definitely. I mean, I had Mochi coming in as a favorite, but if he's up, then he's gonna be up 4-2 after. No, he could actually be up if you. No, wait. Mochi Star is winning. No, it's too early to say.
No, Hideaki's winning the PR race in this game, isn't he? I think he is.
Yeah, okay.
So he could be up 5-1 if he wins backgammon.
Yeah, that's true. In which
Yeah.
case he would be a favorite to be the new the next UBC champion.
I think so, right? He would have to be. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so that means that there's actually quite a big swing here in this match, both in terms
Oh,
of
yeah.
winning the match and the PR as well. And the PRs are still super close, like one little inaccuracy from Hideaki, and Mochi is
Yeah.
back ahead. Back
Which
in
he's
the lead.
made, and so it's entirely possible I just missed that, and the PR race swung again, right?
It is
Yeah.
possible. Let's see the summary, but it's so close that maybe we need the full
Yeah.
XG
Right.
plus analysis, the official analysis result.
Very well might change the result in this one, even if
Yeah.
we have like a clear winner one way or the other before doing so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
And-
Mochi finally there we are, 1.18 and 0.77.
Whew.
Oh, the backgammon is closing in.
Yeah.
6% still.
Oh,
Oh, that's a big fan. Now
that
it's
has
probably
to
up
jump a lot.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably more than 10% now.
Yeah. And we're still even, 4
6-3.
rolls away from, or
Yeah. 4 rolls away.
10%.
He needs to enter. That's a good 6. Now it's
Yeah,
going to be
that's-
difficult to win the backgammon.
Just a set's all you need. Ooh, 5-1 is not the way to win a backgammon. Oh, can you really think about peeling here? No way.
He thinks about it. I
Oh
mean,
my
I've seen
God.
Morten Holm leave a double shot, which was correct in a bear off like this to go for the backgammon. But
Wow.
yeah, he found it. But not here, not in this case. Okay, so he signs the gammon.
Okay.
So 5-5. Very interesting. Exciting match.
Oh, they're doing a little.
Is there?
It's cool to see this, yeah. No, I mean, just making sure you got the move transcribed right. You know,
Yeah.
I've been there. In the bear off, it is hard to keep up sometimes, especially when they're both concerned about their clock. Like, that's every time where you're going to make a transcription error. It's just people racing to rip checkers off, and you can't really see the dice, you know? So, yeah, I think they're just making sure they got that entered right.
Yes.
But yeah, he was in a tough spot here, and now they're at DMP, right? I mean, essentially, two away.
Yes, they are.
Even match.
Yeah, Mochy had a good lead, 5-1, and now it's essentially DMP. So we're still trying to figure out this technical stuff.
Yeah. Just getting it exactly right. That's all. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, does he have to? Oh, maybe they paused him. I thought Mochy had resigned. I was wondering about that. If there was any like Gammon save potential or not.
Yeah. I assumed that he was just
there.
100% to lose the Gammon, and then he resigned, and I didn't second guess Mochy's decision.
Yeah, right.
But if there is just the smallest amount of equity, now it's...
actually 6-5, he just played illegally, but that's okay. I think.
It doesn't matter. It was 100% the Gammon. So 5-5, and the PRs are incredible. Before this match, Nick, we had the average PRs at 2.5 for Mochy and 2.6 for Hideaki.
Sure.
So
and now they're going to come down. Yeah.
I think they're both below a 2 now.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Get the official UBC 2020 final merchandise. All sales go to support the UBC team and volunteers.
That is pretty impressive.
I don't know. It's going to be amazing to see how far down people can bring that stuff, you know? Mochy's been kind of a front runner for a long time, playing really, really low PR averages.
And still is.
Yep. But I mean, we have more people that are very close to that now, you know? Like it keeps feeling like we fill out at like that Grandmaster level more and more every year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. I think we had like 15 players playing below a 3.3 or something like this in the UBC contender tournament.
That's unbelievable. Yeah. And they're going to be careful about sending the cube here. Interesting. I think it's never an error too, right?
It's not gonna be. I mean, 3-1, 6-5, 3-1. Yeah, okay. It makes sense that the cube hasn't been sent yet.
Yeah.
Maybe Mochy could have sent it before this 4-1. Was he a favorite? I didn't get to see whether he's a favorite after 6-5, 3-1. I maybe you're not, actually. And now,
I thought that you just were never. I thought it was basically never an error to send it.
That's correct. It's never an error. It's never an error.
Yeah.
And here he should, because he's a favorite, so why not just double?
Yeah.
But the thing is that there are not really any market losers. I'm trying to figure out maybe double 6 followed by 2-1 or something crazy. Like there might be a market loser, but it's a little bit weird he doesn't double here, to be honest.
Maybe ++ overturns that somehow, you know? I don't know.
But he's a favorite, you know? He's a favorite, so why... Mochy, it's not a mistake for Mochy, because his opponent is going to double next time anyway. So that for that reason, he should be indifferent. As we can see, the engine here says it's completely indifference between, even though he's a small underdog, between doubling and or not.
That's what I was talking about too. Like it's not a mistake to do it, so why not just do it? Why would you risk making an error, you know?
Yeah. But maybe they're trying to induce an error with the opponent.
I guess so.
Could
you
be.
know? Yeah. I mean, there's almost no way that they don't know the theory here, I imagine, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could get into some tricky decisions, you know, if the take point is 31%.
Yes. So that is a spot where if someone misses a cube and then sends it later, I'm liable to make a mistake.
Yeah. But most likely the opponent has also made mistakes by not shipping it earlier and putting the whole match on the line.
Look at this too. This is
it's tricky. It's really, really tricky.
And this is one of those where Hideaki looks at it a lot too, and probably makes the stack play. Mochy might still find it, but I think he's more likely to make a pure play in a spot like this. But yeah, these are tough. These are very tough.
Yeah,
it's so hard to pull the trigger on the 5th checker on the 8th, you know?
And Mochy is leaning forward. You can see how he's leaning over the board here. He's really thinking. Yeah, good play from Mochy. Finds it.
Against
so accurate. And now's the cube. And I think Hideaki's...
now that the margin is a clear 0.008, he's got to send it.
Yeah. And this looks like a running play to me, just because you don't want to get stuck with two checkers on the 24 point. Even
It's
though
so stacky and it's a close race, though, that I'm inclined to make a point because I can make a point.
No, but then you leave your back checker stranded. I don't think that's. I think coming out is the right play, and then you can either come down with a 4 or. I'm surprised if this is correct.
They're all super.
Oh,
close.
look at this, Nick! Look at the best play.
The best play is 2 down. Wow.
2 down slotting play. What a beautiful play that is. He
Well,
doesn't
how do you
see
like
it.
that? My play is 3rd best and yours is 4th best.
Yeah, I think maybe I would have found the number 2. Actually, that was the one I was talking myself into. The contact play and unstacking the. This is the ugliest of all of them all. The one
On 4 play, of course.
But look at the beautiful play of slotting, just bringing 2 down, exploiting your pure rack structure.
Yeah,
and,
very true.
And countering your opponent's.
Yeah, you're right. The split does look.
With a strong pure prime.
Yeah, you're clearly down in the race still, so the split does look good. It just favors the contact. It's a thing you do probably with 6-5 in a lot of cases too, you know?
Oh, now he's lucky, Hideaki. That is a lucky roll.
There you go. This is why you make the 2 point, Mark, so you can roll double sixes next time and be all safe, right?
I mean, the 2 point was also a fine play because it makes a 4 point board. But I didn't like the fact that you didn't get your back checkers moving.
Yeah, very understandable.
Unless, of course, you would play the pure play 2 down. Then it's okay to have contact because you're going for a pure prime.
Ooh, interesting. This is not a good roll.
That's ugly. Okay, he looks at the big play. The pay now or pay later. I mean, to be honest, everything favors the pay now. He's up in the race. Is he up in the race 11 pips before or after the move?
I think before. Well, wow, yeah, this is
okay. In that
not
case,
an easy one to find.
In that case, I think then he's up 22 pips after. Then I think it's an easy play to find because he's way up in the race. His alternative is destructive, and he's got a huge inner board advantage, especially with the 2 blots that Mochy has in his inner board.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier when you put a checker 13-2 either, right? So
that's the thing. It's an ugly alternative. That's why it's better to just make the big play now.
Yeah.
Pay now, otherwise you might gonna have to pay a lot more later on.
Yeah. Again, this whole like holding game and mutual holding game kind of situation, though, it's you better be right. When you're wrong, it's like major mistakes, right? Very large errors. So I think you still have to think about these so much, even if they feel like the easiest games and you can get there. You know, I don't know. They're very challenging to me.
I think Mochy knows the right play here, and he's cheering for Hideaki to make 13-2. Okay, he does find the right play. That would have been a crucial deciding mistake if Hideaki hadn't found the best play there, but he did.
Oh, and a complete air ball from Mochy.
Yeah.
Not even the chance to hit and cover.
Nope. So the 3 is easy.
Yeah.
And what about the 5? It's a little bit annoying to have 2 blots in your inner board, so he's probably either come out or come down.
Yeah, I probably would just play to the 3 personally.
Okay,
so this is interesting. Yeah.
It's more efficient to play to the 3 point. It's just annoying to have 2 blots when you have 1 man back, because when you have 1 man back, you're either under attack or you're trying to escape. Yeah. And either way, it's a big liability. This is actually the best play.
This is just hard for me to understand the merit of it, right? Because you're losing the race.
It's a tactical play.
Do you even want to escape? You know, like, I don't know, like what's going on here. I guess you get more outfield coverage. Is that kind of part of it?
I think it's tactics. There are simply quite a lot of numbers here because when you're coming out here, he cannot play his blot on the bar point safe in the outfield to the 9, 10, 11 point. So if you can just not getting hit, if he doesn't roll a 5, you actually you can say outfield control as a concept, yes. But it's a completely mathematical or tactical play, this one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's simply increasing his chance of hitting by coming out, which is usually not the case because you're breaking contact.
I guess people like to look and see that it duplicates the 5, right? But I don't think that's a big factor here, because you would like to use the 5 to safety anyway. But I think I think the safetying the blot on the 18 point for Hideaki, that makes a lot of sense to me. Why you would come out and challenge that, right? Because now if he lands on the 11 or 10 or 9, you get a direct shot where you don't otherwise.
Very difficult decision here for Mochy, and because of the level of their play, these small errors, a 33 millipoint error, all of a sudden becomes super crucial in the PR point.
Oh, he can't decide on the floor. Look at that.
He's got less than 1 minute left.
Yeah, last game though. He's got time to use. He ought to use it here. I think this is good.
Okay, he does make the human move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about that play too. Is interesting. Yeah, he's probably got to go for the attack now, I guess.
Yes.
What else are you gonna do?
Does get a shot.
But yeah, the interesting thing about that play is that, like, I think other than the exact tactics of the position, it just looks strategically wrong, right? So you really got to convince yourself to do something different there.
It's totally true. That's why it was so difficult.
Yeah.
It's just conceptually weird to break contact. You're down in the race and jump out into the outfield.
Oh, what a shot.
I think we make
the 4.
Yes, exactly. I think it covers the 4. Isn't that the better one?
I think so.
Or he could. Okay, the best one actually, according to the engine, is to cover the 3 and play 8 to 5 to have more attack. This is too loose. He's outboarded. He shouldn't leave an additional third blot in the position. Then it's better to just make the 4 point. I would have just make the 4 point here for sure. This is too big. He played one too many, and now I think. Didn't he?
They're the same.
Okay. It's good. Okay.
Same number of blots, but this has more covers, I guess. That's an interesting find. I think I would just look at the structure and skip over that. But yeah, interesting. Very good play.
Super good play.
Yeah. And what is it? Like, Mochy could be a favorite on
Mochy,
roll
I
here.
think. Yeah, exactly. What about this? Come out and cover?
I think so.
Yes,
it's less shots, right?
Yeah,
like, you're going to be pounced on in your board.
Yes, and there's a huge gain, huge upside when he gets missed here.
Yeah.
And he does. Okay, finally we see some luck swinging Mochy's way.
Yeah, that's a huge double 3. It's just completely changed the game.
Totally. He's got a big edge now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he can clean up his position here. I don't think you should. You're up in the race, so you don't really have to go for the prime here. You could just play this. It's actually completely borderline. You could play bold and have 2 builders, 2 blots in the outfield.
He had a blot and board again, so he had the whole payoff on the indirects. Yeah.
That's the thing.
So
that was the key.
Take the chance of making the bar. The race is still somewhat close, so you do want to develop, and you're not going to get another. Like, now you really don't want to leave it, right?
You don't want to leave it, but I think he's going to do it anyway, just because it's too inflexible.
Oh, and he just plays 6 to 3. Look how close that one was, too.
It was super close. It's fine. Yeah.
Dodges the 6-4 immediately after. I love it.
Yes, and now Mochy needs to hit in order to secure a win. Otherwise, it's going to be an. Oh, he does hit.
Great
Very
shot.
good for Mochy. That is a huge shot. If he didn't hit, it would have been a completely even race, essentially.
Yeah.
But now it's a hugely winning position for Super-Grandmaster.
This is awkward.
It is awkward.
How did we do this?
I guess you play 13 to 9 and 10 to 4. No, not this one. Now you're leaving one more shot.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You're leaving one more shot.
Oh, and punished.
He gets punished.
Oh, man.
Oh, he would have found this play if he wasn't low on time.
I think live dice are rigged, Mark. I'm pretty sure.
We should be wearing the rigged dice t-shirt right now.
It is. That's a couple times we've seen that, where, like, they're borderline little tiny technical errors and just immediate punish, right? Like, maximum punishment both times. With
that was a huge swing for Mochy. Obviously, it's very unlucky because it was just a small mistake, but
right.
It was a huge swing because now Hideaki is going to win 2 points in this match.
Almost certainly, yeah.
Man. What would have been a draw, probably, unless Hideaki fucks up something here. Oh, sorry, my bad. Unless he, makes a bad mistake, which is very difficult to make in a position like this.
Yeah. Wow, that's gonna haunt Mochy too. That's when he sees that, that's a difficult mistake to recover from, you know, because he just it's leaving. Players like him, I think that's how they think about the game too. There's a few like top level players. Myself, I understand that there's a ton of luck in the game and you don't have control, and that was just like really unfortunate.
Yes.
And it was really a small equity mistake. People like him and maybe like Victor is a person that comes to mind. Ashkenazi. They really believe that they deserve to lose the match because of that small mistake that they could have avoided, and that there's justice, you know? So I think he thinks like that, you know? So it'll be tough.
Could be. Yeah, this is going to be an easy win for... Oh, so the engine went from 100% to 99.9%. in this race. I don't know how that can happen.
Yeah,
Probably a rounding error. Yeah, this is going to be a 2-point win for Hideaki, even
and
though
a
Mochi...
0 blunder match.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I hope the viewers appreciate this as much as we do.
Right.
The chat is probably going crazy right now. Okay.
Robots.
Yeah. I hope the viewers have already liked and subscribed to the Backgammon Galaxy YouTube channel. We are in the day 3 of, the match 3 of the Ultimate Backgammon Championship final. It's a 12-match final. You win 1 point by winning a match, 1 point by winning the PR battle. And right now, Hideaki Ueda is off to an amazing start, flying start. Yeah, Mochi resigns. It's going to be a 2-point win.
Wow.
But let's see.
Unless something crazy happens with the full analysis, this looks like a 5-1 start for Hideaki. Yeah, and that's a very big deficit to overcome. You know, there's going to be swings, of course, right? And Mochi's going to get easier matches too. But wow, yeah, that's amazing.
It's amazing. Mochi is kind of, I think they just got the PRs. I think Mochi, he was looking like, yeah, okay. He probably knew that Hideaki had played really well. Hideaki's probably super happy right now on the inside. Mochi is smiling, realizing that he played like an alien, yet lost 2 points.
Yeah. Yep, and it looks like it holds up, stands.
Yes.
Man.
Incredible. Okay. The PR, the official PRs here are 1.5 Mochi, 0.9 Ueda, and the average PRs, the average of the averages are now below 2 or just above 2.0. When
wow.
you summarize both players' average. So
that's amazing.
Incredible performance. Nick, we're ready again for tomorrow's match, and I'm gonna head over now to the Grandmaster analysis. We've got another secret Grandmaster waiting to satisfy the viewers. We're gonna analyze again. We're not gonna analyze any blunders. We're gonna have a look at the key positions.
Yeah, it could be a quick one. Good luck with that, you know.
Thank you so much. So I guess I'll see you again tomorrow, right, Nick?
Yeah, see you for next match.
Okay, good. And for the viewers, if you haven't already smashed the like button, smash it and stay tuned. We're just gonna have a short break here, and then we're gonna be back with the secret Grandmaster for today's analysis of match 3 of the Ultimate Backgammon Championship final.
The UBC is produced by Backgammon Galaxy. Play among the stars. Hi there. This is the amazing team who made the UBC production that you're watching right now. You can support us by donating any amount using this QR code or the link in the description below. Donate $50 or more to get a personal shout-out later in the video by Marc Olsen. Donate $1,000 to get a shout-out and your own custom avatar on Galaxy. Thank you so much for your support. Another way to support Backgammon Galaxy is to place your sports bets on betgalaxy.net, the fastest way to build your Bitcoin bankroll while Bitcoin is skyrocketing. BetGalaxy.net is a Bitcoin-only bookmaker created by the Galaxy team and accepts players worldwide. Create an account now and place your sports bets.
Yeah, so we're back here for the post-match analysis segment. This was another pretty much flawless game by the two Japanese Grandmasters. Really impressive stuff, I gotta say. With the chat section went quite crazy when we saw the Joker at the end, 5-2 from Hideaki after Mochi left 4 shots instead of 3. So really, really exciting end to the game, and obviously we don't have too many blunders to talk about here. But before I reveal the secret Grandmaster of today's match, I just have to make a couple of shout outs here. We've got some donations coming, and guys, this is really nice because the UBC is a pretty big production, so every single donation is highly appreciated. We've got a shout out to Michael Vallier, $50, and Neil Schotten for $50. So thank you very much, guys. Then we got a shout out for Ralph Bird with the Melbourne Open. It's going to be an online event this year. It's going to be from the 1st of February to the 7th of February. It's an open tournament. Anybody can play. I believe it's a $500 buy-in, and there are satellites and all that stuff. Shout out to the Point Backgammon website from Bill and Tara from Texas. They've made this beautiful website for backgammon with tournaments and news and everything. So shout out for them as well. Okay, guys, last thing. If you haven't already smashed the like button, make it turn blue. Thank you very much. Let's move on and reveal who's today's secret Grandmaster is. Will Snellings, Grandmaster and legend. Welcome to the show, Will.
Mark, Master, Grandmaster, and good friend.
Good, nice to have you here. So I'm sad that I can't give you a match to analyze with some blunders, Will, but that's what it is.
Oh, that's okay. There's always something to discuss, even if they got the plays right. So
yeah,
I did watch the stream, so I have an idea of what was discussed, but so I might be a little bit repetitive, but we'll be good, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure we can get a lot of good backgammon knowledge out of studying this match. It is the third match of the Ultimate Backgammon Championship title fight. It's a very, very high stakes and important match, so we should do our best to analyze the critical decisions here. So I've got some flags in my XG file here from you, Will. And the first game kind of went by without not much happening. There was a little bit tricky decision with the cube action, but eventually Mochy doubled and Ueda found the pass. Have you got anything to say about this one, Will, the cube in game one?
Okay, I forgot the format here. Are you going to be able to show me the position or not?
I think you need the XG window open.
I have it. Just a moment. Yep, I'll get there.
Okay, I can just tell the viewers a little bit about this position while you get the XG file up. It was game one. Hideaki had to think for quite a while whether to take or pass this cube, actually. It's a position that's rather early in the game, so the inclination would be to take it because we've got a long game ahead of us. But
this is actually good to talk just a little. This is going to take me like a minute. I won't even give the explanation.
Okay. I'm gonna freestyle this one, Will, and you can get your setup ready.
Okay.
What was going on here? Obviously, I mean, this is different from doing commentary because commentary, you're trying to visualize the game and be into the game with the players, and it goes by so fast. So here we have some time to analyze a little bit. So this is a double and a pass. Mochy has a very nice structure here. He has got purity and he's got both blitzing and priming potential. So that's the key. And not only that, he's ahead by 14 pips in a race. So he's essentially ahead in all three offensive game plans. So in order for Hideaki to take, he must have a lot of contact value. And he doesn't here because he doesn't have the anger yet. He might get blitzed. So he did find the pass, and that was a really good pass here from Hideaki. And let's move on to game two. And I'm sure Will is probably gonna catch up.
There.
And I can already see our first flag here. I'm just gonna scroll through the game to see what happens here. So Mochy gets off to a good start. There Hideaki equalizes by making the golden point, the best angle possible.
I do have one quick question. I've got the match and I've got you, and you need to see me and I need to see the match.
No, it's okay. The viewers are going to see my screen, Will, so we can just talk about the flagged positions that we've got.
Okay, fine. So they don't have to see me. I can just be looking at the match.
Exactly. So now we're at the first flag, which was the cube action in game two.
Yep.
At move 6. So what's going on here, Will?
Yeah, well, when I was in reviewing this, I was looking at, we already have roll 6, right, is the first question of whether we have a double or not. And even though we know the answers to these, these are very important because, we have a good race lead, but, as you guys talked about, of course, there's, virtually no gammons in these kinds of positions. It's very, very small. So we're looking to optimize the double point. We might barely lose our market, but that happens in a lot of these holding positions anyhow, where you're taking a small risk to barely lose your market. Mm-hmm. And what are your qualifiers? Part of it is the race. We have a huge race lead. At this point, we're up 23 pips, almost 20% of the race. But that straggler, what is your word for the guy on the 24?
I call it the goalkeeper, but
no, it's fine.
Cute baby's got many names.
Scout man or goalkeeper. I'll go with your reference. So
policeman. Somebody calls it that.
What was that?
Policeman. I've heard that as well.
Okay. Cop on the beat, just hanging out deep in the alley or something.
Yeah.
What I look for here are, certainly the turnaround possibilities for the trailer, which are pretty high here. So if you get hit, by the time you get hit, it's going to be a deep problem for you. The race is the primary consideration. Your distribution of builders is super important in these positions. In here, with the gap on the 4-point, if we didn't have the gap on the 4-point, I'm sure you agree, I'd happily trade off 2 pips to have a tighter position.
Uh-huh.
And that 4-point gap to me is important. It's going to be an ongoing issue so long as that guy hangs back on the 24.
Mm-hmm.
And whether this was a double or not a double, personally, before I saw the answer, I thought it was super close, and I would have done the same thing Mochy did, which was to not double on roll 6.
Yeah, actually, Will, I'm showing the viewers here the variation where we own the 4-point rather than the 3-point, and it's almost a pass. It's a very small take, so that definitely improves white position.
It's a significant difference, because now we're threatening to make a prime. It's easier to have landing spots. The bear off's going to be easier, etc. If we had a slightly bigger race lead, obviously, but we move a spare to the 6-point from the mid, that's an enormous gain, and it's bigger than simply the 7 pips because of the distribution. And now we're not going to be stripped on the 6-point in case we need to use one of those checkers.
Yes.
So these are the basic elements I look at, and then when we're up to before roll 7, what's happened here? Now Hideaki has made a 4th inner point. Our distribution is almost, it's complicated. It's not super different because actually we might be able to use the dilly builder in a functional way, but it's, it feels like it's almost the same position to me with some slight changes, and I probably would have restrained myself here as well. Again, it turns out it's almost pick 'em as far as what was right.
Yeah.
And we get to roll 8, and now you're looking pretty funky, so I wouldn't consider doubling here. Which turns out it's very close, even.
It is very close, and it's actually, according to XG++, it is a small double. So how can that be?
Well, I don't know. That's good. That's a good question. Well, we have filled in another inner point, which could end up mattering, but our distribution is really weak. So I wouldn't get stuck on that. It's a little confusing. I would imagine it's more of a non-double.
I think 6-2.
I guess we've gone more rolls and we're still ahead the same amount. In fact, we picked up a pip from where we were a couple of rolls ago.
Exactly. We picked up a pip, and there's some tactics here. For instance, 6-2 is usually an awkward roll when you got checkers on the 13 and he's got the anchor on the 20. But here's actually a great roll because you can just blitz on the ace point.
Yeah, it's a very good exceptional roll, which matters. All these little elements matter.
Yeah.
And finally, he gets to the double. Now he's not up as much in the race, but he's got more clearing numbers from the midpoint. So that's a pretty important factor.
Yes.
He does have some weird 3s, and it's still clearly a take. But at this point, that's what I would have looked to. Can I clear the mid? Like you're able to clear not only on 6-5, even though you're still a little awkward, but double 2s, right? You don't get stuck on the 11 point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's, and what about this thing? I mentioned it during the broadcast that Hideaki is actually is getting close to the crunch. He doesn't have too much mobility on his own side of the board.
Right. And that comes up soon enough. I mean, we're already heading into that territory where our next 6 is not very good unless it happens at a fly shot or roll boxes or something.
Yes, and
we're already in that territory where we look good, but it's very fragile. It's almost like any kind of a prime situation.
And for the viewers, lesser experienced viewers, if Hideaki was to roll a 6 next roll, he would prefer to simply break his anger rather than playing 8-2. That's a very, very ugly play, and it's going to be impossible to build up his home board after that move. Then we got a checker play decision.
That's an important anticipation point because that roll doesn't come up, but it's good to think of what ifs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good point.
We learn a lot from that, especially in a match that's so well played. We need to think out of the box here.
Then we got a 6-1 for Mochy.
Yeah, this was a fine play, and I remember Mochy did take not too long. He looked at the other possibility because he brought the 1 in. I think that's how he played it into the 6 point, and then sort of looked at the 6. I'm not even sure if he actually moved 8-2 because you could sort of see that didn't make sense. And the key is, as Nick was mentioning, right? And Nick was the first to quickly point out that blot in the inner board is very important, because if you do get hit on one of the 5 numbers on the midpoint, you've got a decent number of returns. You hate getting hit, but on the other hand, it's better to take the risk now while you've got some returns than to stink it up with a bunch of semi-dead blots on the deuce and 3, which aren't good for the bear off, and also you may end up just leaving that indirect anyhow in a worse situation on the next roll.
Yes, so that was fine technique by Mochy here, and he actually had a similar decision. Oh, I'm sorry, not a similar. This was a very different decision, but just the next roll, the position has changed slightly, and now Mochy has this 5-2 to play. So it's either going to be the blitzing play, which looks very natural but actually leaves 1 shot, or it's just the quiet 13-6.
Yeah, and you guys did come up collectively with the variables here. One key one, which was you guys came around to and then kind of locked in on, was you've got your opponent in a squeeze. All his 5s and 6s, you're either going to have to leave or crush the board in a different way, and your builders are in great shape to begin with. So there's no reason to give this 1 shot to have no spare on the 6 and the potential that he comes in on the 4 or somehow gums things up anyhow. Like, your position is good. You rarely, I find, not this exact position, but in general, when your opponent has the 20 point, don't fantasize too much about possible gammons by making the ace. Now, granted, if it was just a clear play, you're not taking any risks, that's different. If the opponent's distribution was different, it gets him out of, it gets him off at that point. But if part of the equation isn't going to win more gammons, that's rarely the answer. That's rarely the key, part of this. And in fact, you very often don't win more gammons. You just, it's like a hallucination. You imagine how you could, but in fact, it's all balanced out by other things about distribution.
So if I had to boil down the essence of what you're saying here, Will, is that in a holding game position, it's usually the play that wins more games that's the right play. It's not the right scenario where you play aggressively and go for the gammon. Is that it?
It's that, and that quite often there's a tendency to overstate how many additional gammons you're going to win in the first place.
And sometimes, as you said, you can even win less gammons because now you risk getting hit more often, and that's not going to win you a gammon. So.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So this is a very good position because it seems simple on the one hand, and it's not some blatant error if you don't make the right play. But the elements are things, how to see the board, how to see the questions.
Yes. Okay, so what about this variation here, Will? I'm just going to show the viewers. I'm going to move our spare checker on the 8 point to the 6 point. Do you think that's going to swing the scale to the blitzing play now that we're a little bit more stacked on the 6 point?
I'm going to go with the ace point. Let me know.
Let's see. Oh yeah, it's actually clear play now. It's according to, let's see, on XG plus. It's it's a little bit more than half a blunder, 49 millipoints to make the quiet play. So that does change the scale. So it goes to show that we need to look at how our spare checker distribution is, and the more stacked we are, the more incentivized we are to move with those checkers.
Yeah. So no spares on the 6 comes up as part of the reason an error is being made with like a high regularity, I think.
Yes, we got to be more careful about using that last spare checker on the 6 point. Good lesson as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and then nothing much happens in game 1. Mochy just wins the race. Game 2. And let's go to game 3. I'm just going to quickly run through the opening sequence for the viewers here. And then we arrive at the first flagged position, which is a 2-1 for Mochy from the bar.
Yeah, and so Mochy pauses maybe no more than about 15 seconds, I think, and you guys... Nick was not completely sure. You felt very confident in making the 23 point. The 23 point, it's not simply the stripped 8 point here, but there's a situation that comes up a lot early in backgammon where you think, the 23 point is a crappy point. Yeah, it's not that great a point, but on the other hand, it often will, especially where your opponent has already the 22 point, their own 3 point, maybe even their 4 point at times, where now it frees you up to follow through on your offensive side of the board. So they can't attack you, and they can try to semi-blitz you, but you're very free. If something bad happens, you still have the anchor. If nothing bad happens, if you continue to follow through and make some kind of a prime, you have a lot of leverage because you have defense and a stronger offense.
So for the lesser experienced players here, I'm just going to translate a little bit of what Will is telling us, that there's a concept in backgammon where you don't want to be loose on both sides of the board at the same time. So by locking up that anchor, even though it's not the best of anchors, we become more free to play flexible on our side of the board and try to create a priming position over here. And it prevents us from getting blitzed as well. What about the fact that we are kind of getting more primed here, Will? Is that something that you're concerned about because we're stepping into the range of
and Nick was emphasizing this too. The fact that he's already got his 3 point and has the double gap up top means that his priming potential isn't too serious. Of course, it can happen, but I wouldn't be worrying too much about that element yet.
Yes, another game plan element here is that Mochy is slightly down in the race, which means that if we get into a priming battle, that he's actually going to be superior in timing because the one who's leading in the race has his checkers more advanced and is a favorite to crunch his front position first. And Mochy has a very pure structure here with the 5 point made already. So Mochy is really trying to steal this game into a priming battle. And I guess the either play will kind of help him with that, because the alternative play here would be to flex 6 to 5, but that doesn't make the anchor. So I guess, is it an advantage, Will, in a priming game that he simply anchors up?
Well, especially, again, we're back to the original thing, and I act like I was giving it, like sliding it, but the stripped 8 point is a relevant factor. We can't get away from that.
Yeah.
If there was we should look at that, right? If you had a man 13 to 8, then what is the right 2-1 play here? And I think I would still go with making the 23.
Are you absolutely sure that it's so irrelevant? Because if we, for instance, make
I didn't say the 8 point thing is irrelevant.
You said it was relevant.
Yes. I said I paid it. I was sort of sliding it just a little bit when I started.
Okay. Let me agree. Then I don't have to disagree with your analysis.
Yeah. Okay. Not yet. It'll come.
Good.
But check out 13 to 8 as a spare for Hideaki, and then see if the 2-1. I would still make the 23 point.
Yes, let's check it. I guess that adds to the blitz value of Hideaki's position. So I would guess that it becomes even more crucial that you make the 23 point. But let's see. Okay, it's actually quite close. It's still right to make the 23 point. But now the third play from before, anchoring on the 24 point and playing 13 to 11 becomes better. Yeah. And the splitting play is not even in the range. It's too dangerous. You're opening up for the blitz value.
For the blitz, sure.
With 10 checkers in the zone.
Right. So it turns out the stripped 8 point wasn't, it's an element. But I think we've probably done enough on this.
Yes, let's move on. Let me see. Do we have more flags here in game 3? We do have a cube action here. It does turn into a priming battle where Mochy has a big advantage. He's down in the race, which means he has superior timing. He has a more pure structure here. Those two gaps on Hideaki's 4 and 5 points really hurt his chances in a priming battle. And the dilly builder he's got here on the 3 point is ugly as well. So Mochy is unlucky to get hit with a fly shot. And now Hideaki all of a sudden is winning the game and has a very powerful cube, which Mochy did think for quite a while of this decision, Will, and it turns out that it's completely borderline. I think Foreplay told us that it was a take, and Mochy did an incorrect thing by passing, and then the higher analysis on XG++ does show that it is actually a borderline pass. So what's going on here, Will?
Yeah, well, at first blush, certainly the way I go about it, which I think is fairly standard for most people, you just, act like it's 0-0 to infinity or a money game or something, and what would you do? And you're looking at those features that you discussed. There's the purity, even though you have a gap on your 4 point. We're talking about the trailer now. The fact this dilly builder is in a really awkward place. It's easy to imagine that unless you get sealed in on the 4 point, immediately, you might end up with sort of outfield control against this one-man back. You might end up, fumbling your way into a back game that may or may not be that well timed. But you have a lot of outs, and then you have the 23-point game at the very end, which has its own, possibilities hitting shots, especially if Hideaki fails to make his 4-point.
Yeah.
So for money, it feels like a clear take, and it feels like probably a double because you don't actually have a back game, and you're being crushed in the race, and there should be a lot of gammons. While you can see the trailer having chances to win, it feels like a clear double for money. But this score, I'm not going to spin through any precise math right now.
Yeah.
But I would have thought I would have felt as if it shifted from whatever I thought it was for money, maybe around 0.7 something, and become really close at the score.
Okay, so
even
let's
though
check
you
the
go out
variation.
with 4 points, you're not going to have good recubes.
Let's check here. I've got it here for money, and for money, it's actually a 90 millipoint blunder, not to cube, so it is definitely a cube as well for money, and it's a pretty big take. 222.
Yeah, I was saying I thought it was worth like 0.7 something.
Yeah, points.
What is it?
It's 222 millipoints to drop for money.
Okay, so it's
which means
0.78.
Yeah.
0.78, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's in the range anyhow. I mean, I certainly didn't know, but felt kind of like that.
Yes.
Yeah, this is tough, and this is kind of position, of course, that if you're the better player, you just here you've got two virtually equal players. I mean, even if we thought that Mochi's a 2.5 and Hideaki's a 2.7 theoretically, let's just say that's so close. I act like I have complete respect for my opponent and do just the right technical thing.
Yes.
If there were a wider difference of a 2.5 against a 3.5, which isn't still that big.
Yes.
Then it's a position like this that I'm probably going to let go, even though there are errors that the favorite can make.
Yes. So just to translate to the lesser experienced players here, Will is talking about whether you divert your moves from what is game theory optimal to trying to exploit your opponent and try to get him to make mistakes. And what he says here, that both players are so strong that they're not trying to divert from game theory optimal. They're just trying to find the technically unexploitable move, the best move by the computer. Okay, let's move on to move number 4, or game number 4, sorry. Okay, so I'm going through the opening sequence here with the viewers, and we get down to the first flagged position, which Hideaki achieves a defined position here. It's a one-man back because Hideaki has full freedom while Mochy still has one checker back. And this is a checker play, Will, 4-3 for Hideaki, and the choice is whether to play aggressive and hit loose or simply just to play it slow with 13-6 and stack a bit.
It appeared, when I first saw this, it appeared to me one that you really want to take a little bit of time on. And you're trying to weigh out, what are your chances, given that you're down 9 pips after the roll if you don't hit, and your opponent is probably either going to, either run or probably construct another inner point, become even more dangerous and make you even less likely to take any risk hitting. The question is your game just weak enough, relatively speaking, that you're supposed to take some risks right now? After all, if you play 9 and 3, when you get hit, sure, you're going to lose most of the time, but it's not guaranteed. You have some fallback rolls where you hit an indirect shot or you come in and make the 9 point. You have some possibility. If you don't hit now and you consider hitting loose later on, you're probably never going to do it unless you're just that buried in the race. And because your opponent is improved on their side of the board. They're already scary, but they're going to be sort of lights out with a 5' and a 5'.
Yes. For me, this is a very difficult position because it's so difficult to evaluate which one is better, and actually makes sense that they're so close. I think you pointed out the dilemma perfectly well here, Will. For me, the most difficult part is the fact that we are outboarded. It would be so much easier to make the loose hit if Mochy was down to a 2-point board rather than a 3-point board, and the race is just on that. Like, are we further down in the race, then the hitting play becomes more demanding, or is the race closer? Then we got to play safe because we don't want to risk the race. So all factors here.
Obviously, since the actual answer is super close, you just change it by a pip. It's that delicate.
Yes, exactly.
But I'm saying I think I would have made the aggressive play here, just because the race seems like it's not that great. And there are a lot of good rolls here. I mean, it's not just double fours and 6-2, but any 9 boxes, and these other numbers, like, I don't know, double 5s or something, which doesn't escape, but it's just like piles up a bunch more in the race.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Interesting play.
Very interesting play. Okay, so we are fasting forward to where the cube actually didn't come in play, and that's just a racing cube here, easy double. I think I made a mistake here. I told Nick in the stream that we shouldn't really adjust too much in a gammonless position at this match score, but actually we do. We do have to adjust. The take point is slightly higher than for money when Mochy doubles here, because Mochy can get to 2 away, and it's actually quite good to go from 3 away to 2 away. So the take point for Hideaki is probably like 1 pip.
Adjusted,
yeah. 1 pip less than it is for money, but we're still in the range of a double take, so there's nothing there. It's just pretty standard. It ends out in a race where Mochy wins and gets the lead of 5-1, but it still wasn't enough, as we saw. So let's move on to game 5, Will. Again, just going through the opening sequence here, and this is actually Mochy's first mistake in an opening game position. So for me, an opening game position is within the first 4 rolls of the game. We've seen 2 errors so far from Hideaki in the opening game, and this is the first one we see from Mochy. And maybe it's not even really an opening game anymore, but could you tell us a little bit about this position, Will?
Sure. Well, one thing to remember, and I'm not always able to remember every element of it, but one thing here is that when you have a big match lead, you're looking to split like much faster, because you're looking to make an anchor. And so some of the second rolls, for instance, where normally you would hit on the 5 and come down, you're actually supposed to split with the backman with that in mind, because you're not playing as much toward offense, you're playing toward quick defense.
Mm-hmm. And the reason that's good for defense is because you want to establish an advanced anchor, which significantly lowers the gammon possibility of your opponent.
Exactly. So here, this falls into a category that I call, the initials are D like dog, GG, and another D. It's don't get ground down, okay? And it comes up a lot in relatively early positions. Sometimes it come up in mid-game positions, but the vast majority of these come up early in the game, where you're already, nothing, we've only, it's your second full roll, and it looks like it's not very far in the game, but the reality is that you're already a pretty big underdog, because you don't have any offense. You have this lone guy out on the 11 point. The other guy has a lot of ammunition to either start to make a prime or attack you or something. So you're already a pretty big underdog. And it's important that you recognize when you're already have become a big underdog. It's obvious later in the game, but sometimes we forget to say it's all relative, right? So we've got the score consideration. So the score consideration is that we're going to be in this like semi-desperation mode even earlier, because we don't want really dangerous positions. The position's a little dangerous already, but it depends how you look at it. They're like 9.5 men in the zone, right? Or what we got here. We're 8.5 men in the zone, because the guy in the 11 is sort of semi-functional. And we really need to go ahead and fight on the other side of the board, because we're not going to do anything all that great. If we come down, he's got a lot of numbers that make his interboard points, his bar point, the fly shots. It's just too much. So we really, even though it's a little scary just to step up in this board, and I would play the 21-23 play. I think 21-10 was close.
Yeah, it's essentially equally good. 23 is slightly better.
But the concept, this idea of don't get ground down means recognize that you're a pretty big dog already, and make a play that has a certain amount of extra volatility to it. Uh-huh. Naturally, if you make the 24 point, it's quieter. You're probably not threatening to get gammon, right away. But on the other hand, it's not the idea. You need to increase the volatility, because otherwise you get ground down.
Yeah, that's a nice lesson, Will. Thank you very much. Really good. So I guess Mochy here, he was simply too scared of the blitz value, but I think you gave a perfect explanation. You got to take a chance now, see if you can get into a better spot, because it's not looking good if you're simply entering on the 24 point. I think what I said during the stream was that rather than getting blitzed, by a blitz that's not really that scary. Now you're getting primed, now you're still trapped on the 24 point, and he's got so many builders to just develop his position. So he's definitely a clear underdog after his play.
Yeah, that's the main consideration.
Yes.
I mean, there are some tiny blitz scenarios, but basically it was getting primed in.
Yeah. Okay, and actually a funny little thing here is that Hideaki misses a double, which went on unnoticed during the stream. Of course, it's 3 millipoints, so it's completely borderline. But this goes to show how aggressive you can be when you're way down in the match if there's just a slight bit of gammon potential in the position, and there definitely is here. You can see the winning chances is 56% for Hideaki, with 19% gammon chances, 19.5%. So this is just
and this, obviously it's almost a coin flip as to whether it was right or not. But again, you're looking for a position like this.
Yes.
Right? You're basically looking, you've got a clear advantage. Things could go really well. Your opponent has nothing. So this is in the something versus nothing category of early positions. Yeah. which are often not cubed enough just in regular play. I watch people play for money all the time who are good players, some very good players, and they vary a lot of the time. Sharp, they get it enough. But if you have sharp players not doubling 30% of the time when they're supposed to in early something versus nothing positions, we have something, we have some construction and some threats and whatever, and they have nothing. It's all relative. Backgammon is so relative to score and to your position and their position.
Yeah, that's a good philosophical truism of backgammon. It's all relative. It's essentially a dynamic system where every little detail variable is entangled with all the other variables. So you change a little bit here, and then something else happens. One of the beauties about the game.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Hideaki rolls a beautiful double aces, develops his prime structure, and splits the back checker. So what a perfect roll that was. And we got a flag as well, double deuces from Mochy. He makes a small mistake here.
Well, he went back and forth a few times and finally went with the structure over, the structure at the cost of leaving 6 fly shots.
Yes.
And it's certainly not an easy play to make. And you probably have some small, I'm sure you do, I don't know what it is, but some small score consideration where you just want to make slightly smaller plays in the margins. And, I think, again, if I'm paying attention and reminding myself, take care, or something like that, at a leader score like this, I think I would have made the smaller play. Not felt good about it aesthetically, but understanding that there are a lot of sort of slightly non-aesthetic plays you're going to make with a big lead in order to get gammon a little less.
Yes.
And in this case, it probably made the difference of being doubled or not doubled.
Yeah. It probably did. Maybe not. It probably would have been a double either way. But it did, for sure, added a little bit extra volatility to the position, which gives a little bit extra to the double.
Well, I'd say this. Hideaki took long enough to double this, even though it was a good double, that if he didn't see that blot out there, he might not have doubled.
We can actually, let's check this variation. Let me just put it up for the viewers here. Let's see if Mochy had played the other play. So that would have been this play. Now Hideaki, who's on roll here? Yes, let's check. Yeah, it seems that the margin for a double went down to 19 millipoints rather than 51 millipoints. So yeah,
right.
Maybe he wouldn't have found the double.
That's consistent with the difference in the plays.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so this position turned into a pretty good priming position for Hideaki, but Mochy fights back. He rolls a beautiful 6-2 from the bar here. And then we get an interesting decision for Hideaki in a moment. Here it is, the flag, 5-4 for Hideaki. Hideaki chose to leave his 22-point anchor, where the best play would be to stay back on the 22-point anchor and play for the outfield instead, and flexibility. So what do you think is going on here, Will?
Yeah, and you guys discussed this well. You're in no hurry to abandon this anchor. I mean, you've got good control of the board. You're not too advanced with all of your men. You basically just want to, either attack or fill in the 4-point, or maybe somehow Mochy extricates one of the back men. But you really only have to beat one back man. I mean, you'd like to have 2 back there to win gammons, but you just have to beat one guy. Yeah. And meanwhile, they're bad 5s and you're just unleashing a bunch of men that you don't have to give power to at this point.
Yes.
I mean, the other side of the coin would be, yeah, you can do that because realistically, it's like the parlay of that guy on the 22 point in a bad way. But the thing is, you're giving him something that he really doesn't, deserve to have.
Yeah, I really like your point about the fives. They're so well blocked from that angle. But now all of a sudden, after Hideaki's play, the fives can be used for blitzing. 6-5, double five, even a loose five, like 5-1 or something like this, can be used as an attack number all of a sudden. So of course he does gain better outfield control, making the angle on the 18 point. But I think that you're right, Will. He's giving up too big of an asset here in terms of simply making life difficult for Hideaki. Oh, sorry, for Mochy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on here. We got another flag. The fight goes back and forward here. And a beautiful 4-1 here from Hideaki, closes the 5 prime. And now Hideaki has a 4-1. And I'm actually curious here, Will, you flag this position for us. So why did you flag this position and what went wrong here? Hideaki made a small mistake.
This is roll 13, right?
It's roll, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so the idea is, again, like you're just looking to create the most problems for your opponent, and also have outfield control at the same time. So booking the 22 point is it's a temporary way station, right? You're no fear with all the guys you have in the outfield and your prime. You have no concern about getting stuck there.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Part of it.
But
whereas if
he made the 23 to 18 play, which is a small error. That was the play from Hideaki.
Yeah, but and now you're immediately sorry to some extent if an A6 or a 2-6. Well, I don't know how he plays 2-6, but an A6 certainly is going to come out, and you would much rather be on the 14 point.
Oh yes, so if Mochy were to roll 1-6, all of a sudden Mochy grabs the outfield control rather than you having checkers in the outfield to hit back immediately.
Yeah, it's it doesn't look like a big deal, but it's all relative. I mean, it's big enough in this type of position. So you just want to play for outfield control. You can just sit on the 22 point and watch him come in and crash and leave you other shots, and that's going to be a good place to be. Mm-hmm. You're more annoying having the anchor than not having the anchor, but the main thing is getting that guy to the 14 point, I think.
Yeah. What about the consideration of bringing the checkers closer to your own front position so you can use them for an attack or something like? Is it more about the outfield control, or is it also about trying to get builders to your own front position?
It's actually more about getting guys closer, because you're going to need another one of those 4 guys to get a closeout. Yeah. So it's really that more than the outfield control.
Okay.
But it's some combination of both.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and then Hideaki just leaves no mercy here. It's Cobra Kai style. Just.
I will say just something small. Even though it's not correct, there are certainly many players would at least consider playing 7-2, right? You're going to you figure, I'm going to get more closeouts, but you're just taking too much risk. You already have 4 men back, and you're going to win a lot of gammons naturally to begin with.
Yes.
So you don't have to overreach here.
So that's just the wrong idea, yeah. You're giving your opponent 12 out of 36 shots to hit back immediately, and then all of a sudden you're left with a 4 prime and a blot on the 7 point. So breaking the structure here.
Back and
Don't break the structure in this position.
But some people might think of that, so I just thought I'd mention.
Yeah, good one. What about hitting loose on the ace point? I think that's better, isn't it? At least just so you can get to keep the structure. But then you have to play this nasty ace. Oh no, that's also no good. No good. No. Let's move on.
No. All right.
Okay, so that was it. Yeah, no mercy for Hideaki. And he's back 5-5 to 7, essentially double match point. We get to see a cube a little bit late, which was funny. Maybe they're trying to out-trick each other. But then we get this very interesting 6-4 for Hideaki. And the right play is the slotting play. Such a pure and beautiful play. Hideaki made the deuce point, which is just a small error. But slotting was right, Will.
Yeah, well, I didn't like the 2 point, although it turns out there are like 4 or 5 plays that are all really close here, right?
Yes.
So it's not that.
I was feeling the same as you. I didn't like the deuce point either, because this is a double match point situation. Why do you want to make a blitzing move? But I guess it does have some value to just make an inner point here. lock down a 4-point board. But I was more considering either coming out all the way, the running play, or out and down. I hadn't seen the 2 down. It simply didn't occur to me over the board. So I was surprised.
I love the 2 down, but I'm not going to say that I would have played it. It's now in my mental book though.
Yes.
Because again, I like the idea early in games where whether you have a big advantage like this, relatively speaking, in terms of structure, you have a big advantage.
Yeah.
Or some games in which you're kind of losing, but your focus can easily be you just try to look at the board and say, can I just focus on trying to beat this one man back? Forget all the other considerations. Let's say I've got an anchor. Don't screw around. Just figure out how to beat this one guy back. And it could be tactically, it could be in terms of threatening to make a prime. But a lot of games, a lot of equity is lost by not understanding how important that focus is. Sometimes you think, oh, I should hit this other blot, or I should do this and that. And meanwhile, if you just focus on trying to beat a single man back, if it's realistic, there are a lot of times where you find that was the key to the solution.
That's very interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. I think that sometimes maybe it can be a little bit dangerous to just focus on one thing on the board rather than trying to take in the whole board. Like you talked about it in our podcast, Will, this thing about openness and always have your mind open, see all the possibilities and always look at the board. But I like your point here. I think the clue for why this applies to this position is that white is so stacked and has a very inefficient structure if we go into a priming game. Also, blue is down in the race, which gives blue a timing advantage. So in all possible ways, blue has such a strong game if he just manages to do what you say, just focus on priming that blot, then you will probably win the game.
Yeah, because the hits are sort of, you shrug off most of the hits. It's not, 6-1, 6-2, you're quite sad.
Yeah, you might be sad with the double hits, but all other hits, you're going to have tons of return shots. And
anyhow, the other guy has nothing because he didn't roll 6 something and make a point at the same time.
Yes. So for instance, the sequence where Mochy rolls a 6-4, he hits and runs, then Hideaki is simply going to come in and play some sort of a contact game, a holding game of some sort. And this is going to be a very powerful holding game because of Hideaki's inefficient structure with all the stacks. It's very inflexible. So the downside is...
Yeah, and Hideaki's always sitting with the rack ready to spring up his opponent.
Yeah, so any hit in the future is going to be super powerful. I see you already using the term as well, Will. The rack.
I'm trying to learn.
Good stuff. This was I love this position. I love it when the pure plays are the right plays.
Which is even more the case at DMP, of course.
Yes. Okay, and then we got one more flag here. The 5-3 for Mochy. Oof, this was a tough one. So what's going on here, Will? The move 6 for Mochy.
Yeah, I think, the race isn't good, but it's obviously not terrible. And it really comes down to just crunching. Now, granted that Mochy had very little time on his clock. So I don't know what would have happened. If he had 3 minutes on his clock, would he have played differently? I think it may be a coin flip, because at that point he can count the number of shots on the immediate exchange, which is super important here. It's not simply that, if he hits, he may have 2 blots on his board, right? Which is certainly a factor, but it's just how many times immediately is he going to hit on the other side? Because it's a trade-off of those hits versus, a couple of pick and pass numbers and double 2s, 5s, and double 5s is death, and double 4s, and even just the loose hits, which are problematic because if you don't hit back and cover, your position isn't all that good. So this was one that you needed a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Really, because I think for myself, I think if I didn't have much time, I was probably a small favorite to make Mochy's play.
Yes.
But I do think if you had at least an extra minute, and understood how much this next roll, this next exchange is so big.
Yes.
And that's what I would have dived into.
Yes. Okay. I like the way you're looking at this position, Will. I guess every time we have a tactical position where the actual dice sequence really matters for the equity of the position, that's when we want to spend time. We have to look at the numbers here. Mochy did do that. And of course, I don't think there's anybody better in the world than Mochy at doing this stuff, all the tactical stuff, but yet he couldn't quite find it anyway. I think
Yeah, well, that was the thing, but I don't know if he started with a minute and a half. I mean, he didn't start with 3 minutes. That's why I was trying to state that, you need, especially this is it for the match, you really want to preserve some time. But,
yes,
I mean, we all, for various reasons, either due to complexity of previous games or, maybe we just, I think Mochy has an interest. I'm not, saying anything negative about it, but it's interesting that I've noticed, I don't know if you have, he plays a little bit slowly during the first game or two of most matches.
he does.
And I don't know, it's just like, really settle in and not,
It's
because
true.
he's very calm on the outside, but, we don't know what's ever going on the inside unless we have those pulse meters. Right?
And that's actually exactly what happened with the 6-4 later on, the next flagged position. Or did we skip a flag? Oh, we skipped a flag, sorry. Let's go through this one first. 4-3 for Mochy. I don't know. That was not much to talk about there. Well, let's just go ahead to the 6-4, the crucial one. After Mochy hits what supposedly should be the game-winning shot, and then he exposes himself to 4 instead of 3 shots.
Yep. It's basically comes down to one shot, but it's not even just that, right? Because those other 3 shots you don't necessarily escape.
That's true. Yeah, because then the hitters would be 2-1 and 1-1. So in that case, Hideaki would still have a checker behind the prime, and Mochy might get some counter game simply by entering and counter priming. That's a great point.
So I completely agree with you, like 100% that Mochy would have gotten this right with just a little extra time.
Yes.
So,
yeah. This was actually a time error from Mochy. That's nice to see, He has some. He actually mentioned it in the pre-match interview that if he had to point out a weakness in this game, which obviously there's not a lot, it would probably be time management, and I think maybe that's what we saw here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyhow, I mean they're playing brilliantly, and I suspect Mochy will somehow manage to rally and make this tight again.
Yes. So. Mochy is down now. He's down 5-1 in points after match 3. That's quite a big trail. He has to make a comeback now.
Yeah, no, he's a pretty considerable underdog at this point. I have to say, because I played, I don't know if it was like 27 matches with Hideaki, not that long ago. So I have a lot of experience playing him. I have terrific respect for his game, and I don't. After just 3 years of playing, I think he came from playing Go or Japanese chess
I think he's a Go
player.
He
has a big gaming background. His mind just operates that way. It's not like he just sort of showed up to backgammon, from tabula rasa or something. But,
yes.
And
it's actually a 4-year career now. It was a 3-year career when he won the contender tournament back in February 2020.
He's going to be a major threat on the scene for, until he stops playing.
Yeah,
that's clear.
Yes, the giveaway that he's a former Go player is his checker movement style. I don't know if you noticed that, Will.
Oh, yeah.
He uses
the pincer thing. Or whatever. Yeah. I like that. We need like a little variety in some of the basic things that go on.
Yes. Will Snellings, thank you so much for joining the show. It was a true pleasure. Thank you for all the knowledge you shared. I'm sure the viewers...
You're doing a great job with this series. It's terrific.
Thank you very much.
Kudos to Nick as well.
Yes, thank you so much, Will. Thank you very much. Let me just round it off here with the audience. Okay, guys, that was that. We saw the match. Match 3 is now over. Hideaki is taking a lead with 5-1. Great lead. Mochy has to come back, but you gotta stay tuned to tomorrow, same time, same place. Match number 4, which is the final day of day 1. They play 4 matches a day, and we just spread it out here to broadcast over 4 days. A quick shout out here again to all the guys who donated. We truly appreciate it. I just got a meme coming in. I just wanted to show you this little bit silly meme here. The camera just got a little bit weird. Okay, let me just go to, let me do this. Let me just fix the camera here. That looks super silly. How can I do this? Oh yes. A little bit better because Will Snellings just left the zoom and the camera. Okay, there we go. So let me just show you this cute little meme here. I just got it in just to show that we really appreciate it. I think it was the author, I don't know who made this meme, but yeah, that's just got it in via Messenger here while we were live broadcasting. That's cute. So thank you guys for you who all of you guys who made the donation. It's really appreciated. Then I gotta make a shout out here to the Earth board. It's now in the Galaxy web shop. We are donating or teamed up with this Team Trees, which donates or makes sure that 10 trees are planted for every board we sell, and it's a travel-friendly board. The bear-off trays are dismountable, and it's sitting in a checker box, and we've got the travel mode version where you just put the checkers in the bag and ready to go. And then we got the new thing from the Galaxy team, the Bet Galaxy Bitcoin bookmaker. It's really cool. If you haven't already seen it, if you're into Bitcoin, if you're into sports bets, you can support us by placing your sports bets on betgalaxy.net. And that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you again tomorrow. Remember to hit the like button if you haven't done so already, and the little notification bell as well, because then you're going to be notified tomorrow. If not, then we'll see each other on Backgammon Galaxy for a match or two. Take care, guys. That's it for now. See you tomorrow.